Hey everybody, welcome to the Pixelblips podcast from March 16th, 2014. I'm Andy Ryan, that's my co-host Dave DeWart. Today on the show we're talking about raising the minimum wage to $10.10 an hour. I'm pro it, because I feel like if you work 8 hours a day, you should be able to feed your family. Dave, how do you feel?
Sure, let's do it. I'm totally down with that. Hell, when it was the proposed thing was $15 an hour, I was like, fuck, that's more than I make now. I'd be making minimum wage, but I'd be making more than I am now.
In all seriousness, we're going to be talking about Titanfall. Everyone's talking about Titanfall this week, and I just wanted it to not be as boring as it obviously. Not that Titanfall's boring, but like everybody's talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, Titanfall's a fun game, right? Like,
yes.
I've been playing the PC version.
I can get behind that statement.
Yeah, it's fun. Like the freedom of movement that you get by doing all the crazy parkour,
Yes.
wall running, wall jumping, jetpacking stuff.
I wish it was as fun inside a Titan as it is outside a Titan.
Yeah,
like, once you get in a Titan, you're very slow. You're a huge target, and like, I don't know if I just imagined this when I saw a demo of it, but you can't break shit as a Titan. Which, like, if you've seen Neon Genesis Evangelion, like, that's the #1 thing you want to do in a giant robot.
Is tear buildings down and yeah, whatever.
Like, just be able to like call a Titan down on the middle of a building full of people, and like your kill score just go da-da-da-da-da-da.
You just got 12 kills. Yeah, that's one of the things I was kind of disappointed about. And if you watch the Dave beta tests whatever game, one I did on Titanfall.
Link in the description. Dave, remember to put a link in the description.
I'll put a link in there.
In the
you know, I remember saying, I remember there being destructible terrain. I remember there being like that.
I don't know if it was like in my mind or like how they just put like the...
That was like something that they did in the tech demo, and then they were like, oh crap, we have to release this on the,
like the 360 and it has to be able to scale on the PC.
Or if they changed engines at some point because it's done on Source now.
Yeah, apparently it's in the Source, which I didn't know we were still making video games in the Source engine.
Valve is.
That's Valve.
And you know, maybe the upside to that is in some
that might be how it's able to be on the Xbox 360.
Yeah, and you know, even though the IP is tied to all Microsoft platforms, it would be great to see somebody go, hey, here's Titanfall running on Linux because it's based on Source.
Yep.
But that's probably not going to happen because there's no Linux origin thing.
Once again, I'm 100% behind the fact that you will see Titanfall 2 on the PlayStation 4. And I am 100% behind the fact that EA is kicking themselves in the ass right now. Every single sale that comes in for Titanfall, EA would normally be happy about, but right now they're only thinking about, man, if we had released it on more platforms.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of why it's not is because Titanfall was built around being connected all the time, regardless of whether or not you're doing the training mode, which is the only single-player aspect of this game. Yes, I know I had said I thought there was a campaign.
There is a campaign.
And there is a campaign, but it is...
I think we need to, like, it is a multiplayer campaign.
It is a multiplayer campaign.
But it's not a multiplayer campaign.
It doesn't matter if you win or lose the match, you still get to progress to the next level.
Yes.
The next mission.
Which is like the end-all, be-all of all the stuff we've been rallying against about the death of Nintendo Hard.
Yeah.
And how games these days, like, regenerating health, like, kind of holds your hand too much. And, like, a lot of Call of Duty games, because I just played Blops 2 not too long ago, you can literally just run through and hope that you get to the next checkpoint before you die.
Yeah.
There was a spot in Blops 2, the middle of the game when you're in that... It's like an Aztec ruin. The outside of the level is really cool, but once you get inside their little lab area, it gets really stupid. And I was like, I'm just running through that. I don't care.
Yeah. You know, I like probably like 80% of the people that play Titanfall, at least right now, I haven't played the campaign because I don't care. Although the only reason to play the campaign is so that you can get access to using the two other
achievements.
There are achievements, I assume,
Cheetos.
But you get access to the other two Titan chassis in your custom loadouts if you do the campaign.
Oh, okay.
You have to do both campaigns to get one, and then one campaign to do. You only have to do one campaign to do to get the other.
Okay.
But yeah, it's voiceovers while you're doing your regular deathmatch shit. Yep. Like maybe like a custom StarCraft 2 style hero unit in the map, and that's it.
But I don't know if there's the hero units in the map. Everything I've heard of their campaign mode, it always sounds like, hey, we're doing this really cool thing over here. You go distract the other people over there.
Yeah, and then maybe, well, I saw something. It was a video.
I was like, that's not even on this map.
There's some video about like Titan falls in front of you, and the guy rolls out and he goes, "Hey, come on, we got to get out of here." And you like the Titan opens up and you see the guy. But yeah, it's not like the campaign isn't what you would buy one of these games for anyway. The
but it's still $60.
It is still $60.
That is going to continue to be like, people are pissed off that Ground Zeroes is only like 3 hours long if you only do the main campaign, and they're like, how dare you charge us $40 for this?
Yeah.
But on the flip side, they're like, oh, $60 for Titanfall with no single player content.
Yeah, well, you can't say no single player, but you can say no offline content. Because you can't play the game if you're not connected to Origin, at least on the PC.
So here's when I say no single player content.
Yeah, there's no meaningful, like the training mode doesn't really count.
The training mode doesn't count.
Yeah.
That would, unless it's like this is odd, unless it's Metal Gear Solid VR missions, and there is literally 40 hours, I'm trying to think of how long it took me to beat VR missions, like 40 hours of like random training mission bullcrap. It does not count.
No, it doesn't. Because it's like 10 minutes long.
It has to be like that extreme for me to go, oh yeah, the training mode counts.
Yeah, I think the training missions in Titanfall are about 10 or 15 minutes.
Good game. You should go get it.
VR missions. The training. Here, play this game so that you know how to play Metal Gear.
There's like a giant genome soldier, and he's like stories tall, and you have to sneak behind like all this stuff as he turns around because he can like see across the entire map because he's so big.
Yeah.
I loved that level. I used to play that level all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so weird that we're getting that two-side, that back and forth, like, oh, $40 for Metal Gear isn't enough, but $60. And I think a lot of reviewers, Gerstmann, Adam Sessler pointed this out. A lot of reviewers are being very honest with people. Like, you're paying $60 for the amount of crap that you get from like Warframe or Dust or
a free-to-play shooter.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the other ones.
Blacklight, Loadout.
There's more. They're like, you're paying $60 for that. The only thing that differentiates this package from that package is giant robots. Which I love me some giant robots. I've been a fan of all the Transformers movies. I'm looking forward to the new one because giant robots punching each other and Marky Mark. That's cool.
Yeah, we're in.
Yeah,
I think a lot of with Ground Zeroes is basically it's a single player game, right? Like you're paying $40 for a single player game that has little to no multiplayer content, correct? In fact, I would say no. So you were saying this main story campaign in that game, if you just powered through it, is what, 5 hours, 4 hours?
I haven't played it. I've heard everything from 2 hours to 5 hours. But I've also heard that there are tons of side mission stuff in Ground Zeroes that if you wanted to 100% it, you'd be playing it for over like 20 or 30 hours.
Okay. Which
is weird considering it's just like a very small map of one base.
Yeah.
Which is cool that that just blew my mind a little bit that okay, so Metal Gear Solid 1, obviously in Alaska, only 2 bases. There's the one base, you run across the snowfield to the radio tower, and you're in the other base. Metal Gear Solid 4, we're jumping forward, Metal Gear Solid 4, more bases, but they're all, once again, little contained bases. Now we're in Ground Zeroes, and it's roughly the size of the Metal Gear Solid 1 base, and it is just the demo for the actual game.
Yeah.
To me, that the levels of magnitude that we have grown as I have grown up with video games is
well, I mean, you got to think. You have open world games like Infamous and Prototype, and some of the Spider-Man games.
And supposedly, Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, will be totally open world.
Well, that's cool.
With all of Afghanistan.
So did they map Afghanistan to the inch?
The Hideo Kojima version of Afghanistan.
Oh, okay.
So,
Kojima-stan.
Yep, Kojima-stan.
So anyway, the point I was going to make is I don't want to say that they're right to complain about Metal Gear, the price of Metal Gear, what is it, 5, what's this one?
Ground Zeroes.
Being only 3 hours long and paying $30 for it. I understand that because it is a primarily single player game and it has a finite amount of content, right?
Yes.
Titanfall being a multiplayer focused game.
With a finite amount of content.
Yes, you have a finite amount of
until you pay
content.
For the season pass, the DLC, the blah, blah, blah.
But you are paying for a multiplayer game in which the experience is not always the same. Yes, there is an end state of win or lose. But you're not always on the same map. You've got I think 14 or 15 maps, which is not a huge amount, right? Think of Unreal Tournament when it came out.
Here's my point.
There was 90 maps.
Yes, but here's my point. Warhawk came out in 2008.
Yes.
And if you paid $60, you got Warhawk and a Bluetooth headset.
Mm-hmm.
And if you paid $30, you got Warhawk, which had maps,
it had
was
everything.
multiplayer focused, and like they even in 2008 understood that like this isn't a full package.
Yeah.
And the fact that Titanfall is $60 and it's not a full package screams of EA-ness to me.
Well, yeah, EA-ness.
Yeah. say it quickly and you'll know what I was saying.
Yes, I heard what you said.
It also it's Microsoft and EA, the two largest money-grubbing, well, not largest, two of the top three largest money-grubbing corporations in video gaming right now.
Yeah. I'm not defending, like, I like Titanfall as a game. I think it is fun.
Oh, I like it as a game. I think it's cool. I think that price point is the only thing that is off-putting to me.
It's too high. If it was like $40 maybe.
And I think that price point is someone in a suit and a necktie going, oh yeah, that's a $60.
Well, and you know, they looked at it and said, well, these guys made, what, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, right? Like,
well, Call of Duty 2, Modern Warfare, and Modern Warfare 2.
So they basically made...
And technically Call of Duty 1, but that wasn't really the same. Never mind.
What we would consider the modern shooter, these guys birthed it, right? Like, they were the ones who were like...
The modern multiplayer shooter.
Yeah.
I still say that like all of the Call of Duties are basically a version of Half-Life.
Well, anything in which you have a gun right here, it's Doom or Wolfenstein.
Half-Life in the sense of how the story is told.
But it's, you know, I think they're being like, all right, we got this pedigree, we got this team, these guys, you know, like, Respawn, they know what's up.
We can put these guys' name on it, and no matter how much content there is in it, we can
sell it for $60. Yeah, and you know.
And I think that's a business decision. The Hideo Kojima thing, I like that type of game, and I think when you look at something that like, if you're playing the same 14 maps, if you're playing the same 14 maps in multiplayer, and you get 10 hours out of it, that's one thing.
Yeah.
If you're playing the same 14 maps in a single player and you get 10 hours out of it because you played that same Ground Zeroes map 14 times to do all that, that should be a likewise thing.
Yeah.
And what goes back to what we always talk about before you buy a game, think about how much you're going to play it.
Yeah, and you know, I've put probably about 8 hours in it since it's come out, and I've enjoyed it. The
thing I didn't like was that like when I was listening to the Giant Bomb Quick Look, because I've messed with it. I haven't played a lot of it.
A buddy had a PC or something you played it on, right?
Well, no, I played it at a store. Anyway, I'm still like a little kid. Anyway, the thing that I didn't like about that was that Gersman said he's about 8 hours in and he's about to hit the level cap, prestige.
Yeah.
And then there's always the thing, you hit the level cap, you go back, you get a prestige marker, you hit the level cap again.
Yeah.
And to me, like, if you hit that level cap, you have seen all the content. So if you can hit that level cap in 10 hours,
I'm not going to disagree with that.
Compare that to Call of Duty Ghosts, which also launched at $60, which also had multiplayer, which had a single player, which had that weird co-op mode. That is a $60 product. Compare that to EA's Titanfall. You can see that Titanfall's amount of content does not necessarily add up. Granted, Titanfall, much better game than Ghosts.
Yeah.
We're not saying that Titanfall's not a good game.
Yeah.
Put down your pitch.
The price point is probably too high for your average gamer.
And I think that price point is a meeting place between Microsoft said we will pay EA this much for exclusivity for it to launch on the Xbox One so many weeks before the Xbox 360.
Yeah.
And we will pay them this much to keep it off the PlayStation. EA, on the flip side, probably towards the end of development, said, hey, shit, we're going to need to charge $60 for this to make our money back, even though this is going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Once again, Titanfall 2 will be on the PlayStation 4.
When you are looking, I think when you're looking at a multiplayer shooter, when you go into that game, like we know, well, like if you're someone like us who knows, hey, this is a multiplayer shooter, I'm going to be playing the same X number of maps over and over and over again with 5 modes. If you consider 5 modes times 15 maps, you kinda have however many maps that is.
Yeah. 5 times. Do
70,
it, Dave.
70 maps. It's like 70 different. Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
5 times 15.
50 plus 20 is 70. Yes. 5 times 10.
Yes.
5 times 4 is 20.
14. I thought you said
14.
15 maps.
Anyway,
okay.
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Like,
Anyway,
I don't think that's right.
there's 70 maps in the game if you consider it, with each different version. Now, granted,
70 game modes, levels. We'll call them levels. Discrete levels.
But it's not. It's the same 15 maps over and over again. Whether you're playing attrition, hardpoint, last Titan standing, which is like my least favorite mode.
Because the Titan, it's just not fun to be in the Titan.
No. Well,
like the wall, I was surprised.
The upside,
when I played it at the store, I was like, I want to get in the Titan, and Laura, it was like
you have to unlock
finally
it.
got in the Titan, and I was like,
this kind of sucks.
I want to be out of the Titan. Well, I want to be the guy on my back trying to kill me, and I was like,
yeah, that's fun. Like rodeoing a Titan is a hell of a lot of fun. Like
I didn't get to do that.
It took me about an hour to figure out how to to
land correctly.
Yeah, to jump on it. And there have been times when I'm like on the ground chasing the Titan and I jump off a building and he just turns around and it steps on me. And I'm like, well, fuck. But yeah, no, being in a Titan itself is not as much fun as just running around as a pilot. And I don't know if that's because they have the limitation of either the source engine or having to build it on the 360 and not having destructible terrain.
Or the fact that if the Titans did everything we wanted them to do, if they were like Evangelions where they run as quickly as a human,
then there would be nothing for the pilots to do after 5 minutes.
Yeah, there would be no point in being a pilot on the ground. Which I think they did a good job of keeping the pilots and the Titans on even footing.
Yeah, because every pilot has an anti-Titan weapon, and it's usually like a big-ass rocket launcher or a lot of little bitty rockets or something like that.
I like that arc laser. That's what they got. I had you charge it.
Yeah.
And you have to like aim it as you're charging it. And then,
yeah, it's like that sniper rifle in Killzone that you like that I hate.
Yes. Except this, never mind. We're not going to.
It's a little bit different, but it's similar.
Yes.
But just playing Titanfall like as a pilot is a lot of fun, and as we said, as a Titan, it's not as much fun. But like if you're playing a hard point, which is basically domination style from UT. You can basically just say, okay, Titan, you stay here and cover my back, and then I'm going to go over here and hold the point and set up traps and shit. And that's actually really fun, just using it as either a distraction or whatever. And there are big ass turrets that you can hack into. Oh no, and they give you points for that. And
I agree. What I'm saying is, when you look at Titanfall's Metacritic, sitting where it's at in the mid 80s, that is because
the price point.
They didn't have a single player game. They didn't have a co-op add-on. That it's literally because people are going, this is a really great game, we just wish you guys had made more of it.
Or released it at a lower price point.
Yeah.
For a $40 game, this would be amazing.
Yes.
But that's not on the cards, and we know EA isn't going to release anything that doesn't have the PopCap name on it for less than $50 or $60.
EA, like literally, I think EA's watching the cash registers and going, damn it.
Yeah, well.
Because I think I listened to this interview with Michael Pachter where he said John Riccatello was betting big on the Xbox One, thought Xbox One was going to kill the PlayStation 4, thought it was going to come out at $350, $50 less than what the PlayStation 4 was going to come out. I don't think EA knew there was going to be that $499 price point. I don't think EA knew about all the online connectivity that was going to blow up in Microsoft's face. And I think as that was all coming out, EA was going, damn it.
Yeah, well,
and the minute the PlayStation 4 launched, EA went, damn it.
I don't think that you're wrong that Titanfall 2 and any subsequent sequels, if they make any sequels, they probably will come out with at least the second one.
Knack is going to get a sequel, and this is going to get a sequel.
Yeah, we talked about that on Friday when we were hanging out.
It's not a good game, but it sold a lot.
Because there wasn't
going to be money to go for.
The only reason it sold a lot was because there was no real good kid-friendly games except for Lego.
Yes.
Which Lego Marvel is a better game than Knack, and it will forever
but Lego Marvel's like one of the best games of like last year.
Yeah, it's building off every other Lego game ever, and that's like, if you were just going to say this is Lego number 63 because there's been so many Lego games before.
Knack is probably going to be one of the first retail games we see in PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, I think we'll see that by the end of summer.
Knack 2 is going to be more checkpoints, easier. You're going to have a bigger life bar, and like, we're going to stop resetting you to small Knack so much.
Yeah.
Because I think it's one of those things they're going to go through.
Once you get big Knack, that game is actually really fun.
Yeah. This is what we did wrong. It's like that last level, everyone agrees it was awesome. Yeah. They just wish the other game was like it. So
the rest of the game wasn't so bad. But yeah, so Titanfall it's not a bad.
Titanfall, I think EA is going to go back to the drawing board and say, here's what we need to do differently. abandon this source engine or get it to do what we want.
Yeah, which I don't know if Source can do that.
Yeah, the things, like, here's the difference between Knack and Titanfall, outside of the giant robots and the thing made out of cubes. The difference is Knack sold really well, probably better than Sony thought it was going to.
There's a lot of Knack bundles.
It was, yeah. But the flip side is they realized that it wasn't getting good review scores because there were things wrong with the game.
Yeah.
So when they go back to the drawing board for Knack 2 or whatever that team does next, whether it's Marble Madness, ooh. Yeah, there we go with the thing. Oh, that would be so great.
And then you just flick the pad to get the ball rolling.
Get the speed. Oh, God. Just Mark Cerny. There you go. Anyway,
we just remade Marvel Madness for you.
So when they go back to the drawing board to make their next game, those are the things they're going to look at, like more checkpoint, blah 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 blah. The team is going to look at things differently. Yeah. The publisher is not. When EA goes back to look at for Titanfall 2, they're going to go back and go, we charged too much for what we had. That dinged our
we need scores. To do better. Like, you guys need to give us more shit next time.
Yeah, or we need to release it at a lower price point. And I think the number one thing they're going to go back at is saying, look, you know, they're probably going to be the number one seller.
Or because it's EA, they won't.
It's true. In terms of learning from their mistakes, EA doesn't have a good track record.
No.
Case in point, launch day problems with Titanfall. Anyway.
I mean, that was going to happen. That
was the one thing that everyone was like, oh my God, I can't believe Xbox One, it was supposed to be totally great, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, what? There's problems launch day on a multiplayer game?
Okay. Launching a game that is online, launching a game like Titanfall that early in the life cycle for the Xbox One, while a huge misstep, is probably something that Microsoft is going to learn from. Like, their infrastructure was not ready for, you know,
and the fact
a million people to buy Titanfall in 24 hours.
The fact that Titanfall Xbox One offloads all AI computations to the cloud, I think.
And I think the PC does as well.
The PC does as well. I know the Xbox 360 does not.
Well, it can't, really.
But the fact that that happens, like, I think they're going to go back and say, guys, maybe AI was the wrong thing to put in the cloud. Like, because it turns out that if the cloud is messed up and the AI gets messed up, we can't, like, revert to a smaller texture. We can't, like, pull back the draw distance on the game. It turns out that everyone can't play the game.
Well, and
so I think
we haven't even talked about that, like the AI in general.
We'll get to it, but they're going to go back. I think the publisher's going to go back on Titanfall and be like, here are the mistakes we made. One, the price point was too high for the amount of content we had. That dinged our review scores, and those actually matter.
Yeah, because people will go, how well? Let's see, Titanfall 2's come out. How did 1 do? Oh wow, 70 shit.
Yeah. So and they're also going to go, 2, we released it on this platform. We should have released it on
more platforms.
More than one platform to get our money back.
Well, I mean, I know you say PC gaming doesn't matter.
PC gaming matters, especially when you're dealing with something as small as the Xbox One install base.
And with the 360,
and I'm sure
on top of it, like I think when the 360 version comes out in what, a week or two? I think it was 2 weeks later.
I think it's the Tuesday after. Infamous comes out this Friday, and it comes out the Tuesday after.
So it was 2 weeks from the launch of Titanfall, because Titanfall came out last week.
Yes.
So when the 360 version comes out, they'll see a nice big bump, because there's people that haven't bought an Xbox One yet.
It'll end up on top of the NPD charts, because NPD doesn't cover Amazon, because NPD doesn't cover online sales, because NPD only covers brick and mortar.
Yeah. And
they're going to go, okay, Xbox One, PC, and Xbox 360, all those SKUs are one game. So they'll end up on the top of the charts.
Yeah. It'll do well.
Yeah.
But... yeah,
I think EA is going to go back to the drawing board and say, you know what?
Next time around, we're going to give you more stuff. And maybe because
by the end of March, there's still going to be more PlayStation 4s out in the wild than there's Xbox Ones. Like, Titanfall is just not going to sell that many copies. And
I mean, it's sold.
The PlayStation 4 demand is not dying down the way we thought it would.
No, and really, like every time I go to Best Buy, because I go probably once every 2 weeks or so, and
a little problem there.
we go like we're out and about, and we're like, oh, let's see what movies came out, rather than looking on our phone. We'll go to Best Buy and walk around for 20 minutes, or whatever. I always see like a big pile of Xbox Ones sitting by the front door. They're like, oh, we got them in stock, and I'm like, you have any PS4s? No.
Yeah.
Every time we get them in, they go away.
Yeah, the demand for the PS4. So. I mean, especially with the February numbers in the books and the fact that only the Xbox One was only 10% behind the sales of the PlayStation 4. You'll probably see Xbox One come out on top next month, maybe. Hopefully.
As far
if
as
you don't
from
see
the
Xbox,
beginning of March to the end of March, yeah.
If you don't see Xbox One come out on top of the NPD numbers next month, it says more about Microsoft than it says about Titanfall.
Yeah, that's, I mean...
And it says a whole hell of a lot about Sony and learning from your mistakes.
Well...
Which, with...
it also shows that the lower price point helps a lot, because, I mean, that helped the 360 when it first came out. It was cheaper than the PS3. It also came out a year ahead of them, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, case in point, they can keep Xbox Ones in stock, they can't keep a PlayStation 4 in stock, and they're charging more money than the MSRP for that damn camera. So... There's demand.
Yeah.
Like no one thought.
I think the Kinect camera when it first came. Well, no, the Kinect camera when it first came out was about $100, $150, I think, and it was.
But it came with a game, right? Kinect Adventures.
Adventures or something.
Yeah.
That or Kinect Sports, one of the two.
Well,
and maybe it changed at some point, but.
So, like I said, I think EA is going to learn a lot from this, and I think one of the things they're going to learn is like, hey, Microsoft didn't pay us enough money to keep it on this platform.
No. And I hope that the exclusivity agreement that they have is just Titanfall, not the entirety of the Titanfall IP's lifespan.
Since we got Mass Effect 1 on PlayStation 3, I'm willing to bet that
it's probably not.
EA and the almighty...
Maybe it's like a 5-year thing or a 2-year thing or something.
EA and the almighty dollar will find a way, whether it's Titanfall 2 on the Xbox One and Titanfall Championship Edition on the PlayStation 4. The EA and the almighty dollar will find a way.
Titanfall 2's Championship Edition Turbo.
EA finds a way.
I know. EA does find a way.
EA always finds a way.
That's right.
Jurassic Park. Anyway, so yes, offloading the AI to the cloud. It turns out that the always-on requirement that Microsoft sold you on this Xbox One future of you got to be always on the cloud because this, and we're going to have so much da-da-da-da-da-da-da. It turns out most of that at the moment is still bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, I totally...
Like, case in point, multiplayer in Killzone looks better than multiplayer in Titanfall on the Xbox. Well, comparing the Xbox One to the PlayStation 4, like, it's still not hitting that.
You are talking about two radically different graphics engines.
True, but...
and you have to consider, Source Engine is how old?
I know.
How old is Source?
2002?
12 years old.
Yes.
Talking about a 12-year-old rendering engine versus something that was probably custom made for Killzone.
But I'm also talking about two exclusive first-person shooters, which when Mom and Pop and Middle America go out, I shouldn't say Middle America, really are Middle America, but when they go out to the malls and go, compare these two things side by side, they're going to go, that one looks better.
I don't, well, they might, maybe. Like, I'm not going to... If you see them side by side, you're going to go, well, that one's got bigger explosions and giant robots, and this one's got... No, I'm saying, like, if you had an Xbox One demo and a PS4 demo, one was running Killzone, one was running Titanfall, this one is way more fast-paced, way more action movie, lots more big explosions and giant robots. This is a guy sneaking around inside. They're completely different playstyle games.
Have you not played Killzone multiplayer?
I don't play Killzone multiplayer.
Okay,
I don't play multiplayer shooters on a console.
Okay, well, it's surprisingly similar to what Titanfall has. Titanfall runs quicker. You have more of the free-running stuff, but Killzone has done a good job of aping that Call of Duty-ness. So it runs
Which
quickly.
is probably not in its favor.
No.
I mean, honestly, if it's Call of Duty-ness that you're aping.
Yeah. But it runs at, not 1080p.
But it runs at a smooth frame rate and it looks
super weird
good.
rendering thing that is like a 1080p frame and a 900 and something frame and then a 1080p frame
so
and
it's
a
like
900
this.
something frame.
It's like this.
Yeah, Jake did that. I read the article on it and I was like...
My brain hurts. That's too technical.
I know a lot about math, but I don't know that. But all of this offloading stuff to the cloud, and the cloud's going to make everything better, and it's going to look better. You're going to have games that you'll be able to see forever. Case in point, there's that Destiny live demo from EA where they're literally standing on top of a building and can see the distance as the dropship comes in at them and everything. And there is no moment like that in Titanfall that I saw, except for that one with the dinosaurs. I thought that was kind of weird and cool. I was like, oh, yeah, dinosaurs.
Yeah. There's some cool stuff, but the online only thing really kind of sucks, especially because on the PC it's tied to Origin, and Origin is just a giant pain in the ass.
And it's still using the same server structure that the Xbox One's using. Yeah. So for Titanfall, I really don't understand why Xbox One players and PC gamers can't play together?
Because PC gamers would wipe the floor with the console gamers left and right.
Well, yeah.
I mean, never mind. We're not going to get into that.
I know, but like, why aren't they the same population pit to draw from?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like,
Because
that is literally a game designer
the dumbest
saying,
thing
that
ever.
is literally a game designer saying, this is the difference we're going to make.
Yeah.
This is the line in the sand. But there's no computational reason they can't play together. Especially since they're both using the same cloud servers for the AI.
They are, and you know, I'm sure there is a reason, and it might be because you know the hardware specs for everybody's PC are completely different. Like no two PCs are ever going to be the same, even if they do have the same parts. And they know all the Xbox Ones are going to get a constant. You know, everybody has the same hardware limitations or whatever. So. Maybe it has something to do with that more than, okay, these guys are playing on, you know, this big server bank over here versus this big server bank over here. I don't know why that is. But yes, I have seen the little message up in the corner that says, looking for Xbox Live servers or whatever. And I'm like, yeah. All right, whatever.
So, and the other thing is that server structure wasn't ready to handle the pressure.
I don't think it was ready for the load. But, you know,
especially considering it's just doing AI computations, which aren't that big.
Well, and it's hosting the games.
Oh, yeah.
You have to host the games as well. But, you know, the AI stuff, the AI is not that great, to be honest. Like,
no, but you need some. I think putting the bots in the game
I think the coolest
is a master stroke.
That is
like, if you were to ask me,
amazing thing.
They were like, if you were to ask me, like, Andy, of all this stuff in Titanfall, what is the one thing everyone else should rip off? I would say bots in the multiplayer match, and 2, those nice little burn cards.
Burn cards are cool. I actually don't use my burn cards that often, even though I have like a whole deck of them.
It makes it fun for everybody as opposed to something like Call of Duty kill streaks, where like one dude is doing really good at the match, and then he just keeps doing really good at the match.
Better. Yeah.
Yeah, like, oh, you're killing everybody, so we're going to give you this other thing that makes you killing everybody even easier. Like
now you've got, you know, explosive resistant body armor, and you can't die.
So like the burn cards are like, if you're doing really well, you're pulling burn cards, but if you're not doing really well, maybe you get lucky and pull a good burn card.
Well, the way that the burn card thing sets up is, you know, at the end of the match, you're awarded burn cards depending on whatever it is that you did. I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's like certain objectives you complete.
The points. You get points.
Well, yeah, I understand you get points, but it's like sometimes I get, it'll just say like grunt killed, burn card earned. And I'm like, what the fuck? All right. And there have been matches where I got like 4 burn cards or whatever. And usually it's, you got an amped version of a gun you already have. And the amped versions are like, here, it does like 3 times the damage.
Or you run quicker, or jump higher, or the Titan spawns quicker.
Yeah, every shot you take cuts time off of either your spawn timer for your Titan, or it's like big ability, like that kind of stuff.
So the cool thing that I like about the bots is that even if you're not good at multiplayer shooters,
you can still be a benefit to your team by killing bots.
Even if you're literally coming into Titanfall in, you know, you get an Xbox One for next Christmas, Christmas of 2014, you get Titanfall with it, not free.
Well, yeah, okay, whatever. Anyway.
You get Titanfall with it, and
your parents bought you the bundle, and
you're going in and playing it. You'll still be able to, even though you don't know the maps, you don't know the weapons, you can still kill people. You can still have fun in it.
Yeah, and you know, you can, some of the cool things you can do with like the robotic, because there's like 2 kinds of bots, right? There are the human grunt guys.
You can knife.
Yeah, you take your hacking knife, which is funny because you just jab a knife into the side of their head and you hack them, and then there's your little buddy, and you get kills for them killing stuff.
Yep.
And then there are times when you run into a room and there are like 2 grunts fighting each other, and you can just run around and like, you know, kill the one bad grunt, and the other guy's like, oh, thanks, that's awesome.
Yes.
So
the cool thing, and that's the thing
I really like
those are the things that make
AI.
Titanfall really cool. Like the burn cards, the bots, even though, you know, everyone was used to be complaining about it's only 6-on-6 and there's bots.
Well, and you know what? The bots help make up for it being 6-on-6.
Those are the targets, yeah.
Yeah, you don't just have to look for the one guy who's camping on top of the thing. You can, you know, take out bots, follow
the wall
Titan.
running and how you move. All of these things are much better than like the namesake of the game, which is the Titan.
Yeah, it is. Like the stuff around the Titan is better than the Titan itself in a lot of instances.
Really cool, really fun.
I mean, you get some pretty neat stuff with the Titans, right? Like you get your there's like an electric
I like
smoke
how it like
you can
grabs
put out.
you and puts you in its chest and then it locks. I actually like how they did the cockpit screens. how it's not like a full 360 degree around you.
Yeah, you still have the side.
So there are blind spots in the Titan, which I was like, that's a genius
when
design
you
thing.
jump off of when you jump on top of it and embark on it, you will actually like go through a little porthole on the top.
Oh, nice.
And then it's just like you do it up, and it's the same delay of when you sit in it, it raises up and whatever. But yeah, it's really cool. Like I like the Titan, and one of my favorite things to do, and it's harder to do than you would think, is like so when you lose a match, you have to escape. Like there's a dropship that comes to pick you up. You can drop a Titan on top of that dropship.
Really?
Yes.
Nice.
I've seen it done like 2 or 3 times, and I've tried to do it. I couldn't get it.
I think the dropship's also a good thing, because like even if you've lost the game, you can still get points for evacing.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, and defending the dropship and whatever.
Like I don't think that Titanfall is going to end up being the big competition thing that Battlefield is. Like you're not going to see esports built around it that much.
I mean, you might a little bit.
You'll see Microsoft branded esports built around it.
And you know, you might see it at some big MLG thing this year.
It's kind of like when we played Street
but I don't
Fighter
know how
plus
long.
Tekken, and we were like, this is not going to replace Marvel vs. Capcom.
No.
This is not going to replace Ultra Street Fighter.
Yeah.
It just, you kind of get that feeling playing a game that like, this isn't.
It'll be the thing that people play when they're bored between matches.
Yeah, like this is going to be like the Smash Brothers Melee of first-person shooters. Like everyone can get into it. It's fun for everybody.
Isn't Smash Brothers going to be at EVO this year?
Yeah.
One version of Smash Brothers or another?
Melee's going to be. Because Melee's the best.
The game.
GameCube.
That's the GameCube one. Brawl was the Wii one, right?
Yeah.
And then there's the new one that's supposed to come out for the Wii U.
The new one is just Smash Brothers.
So it's a
Super
rebranding.
Smash. Rebooting the series.
Rebooting.
The Amazing Smash Brothers.
Rebooting a
Smash Brothers
Mario
Prometheus.
themed fighter. Okay.
Anyway, so like it's still a fun game, but
Titanfall is a fun
if you're
game.
super competitive, people are already like complaining about the bots, complaining about the fact that anyone can win a match, which is, I mean, whenever someone complains about that, I'm like, that is the point of a damn game.
Yeah, and there have been matches. I've had times when I was the MVP, and I don't have any idea how that happened other than I got really lucky.
Yeah.
I'm not that good at first-person shooters.
Killzone's also like that, with like its randomly changing objective format.
Yeah.
That's why Killzone's not really that big in multiplayer.
Yeah, because with
what do they call it? Major League Gaming. There we go.
MLG. Yeah.
MLG. So anyway, we like Titanfall.
I like Titanfall.
I don't like the price point.
I'm not.
I don't like the fact that you have to buy an Xbox One to play it right now, or a PC,
or a high-end PC. Yeah. Because it won't run on this laptop. Yes. Everything else I have runs on this laptop.
It won't run on my computer at home.
To be fair, Half-Life 2 hardly runs on your computer at home.
Hey, don't forget to spay your Pokemon. We'll see you next week.